Chapter 4: Transformation. Rayhan had passed the point of initiation. He was no longer a man merely learning the tools of hacking. He had become a strategist and executor, capable of manipulating both digital systems and human behavior with precision. The shadow of grief that had driven him to learn now fueled the next stage: transformation. This was the phase where knowledge, skill, and determination would become instruments of power, enabling him to confront those responsible for Rabu and Ayet's deaths. The apartment that once resonated with laughter and warmth had been repurposed into a high-tech command center. Multiple monitors flickered with streams of code, network diagrams, financial charts, and intercepted communications. Devices were modified, encrypted drives multiplied, and the walls were lined with sticky notes, maps, and photographs. Each item served a purpose, each connection a potential target. Rayhan's home had become a hub of calculated intelligence and strategic planning. His first steps in transformation involved recruiting the right operatives. Rayhan did not intend to act alone. The conspirators he was facing were entrenched, well-protected, and cunning. He needed skilled individuals, technicians, insiders, and discreet operatives who could complement his abilities. Using anonymous forums and encrypted communications, he sought out those who were willing to operate in shadows, motivated by payment and secrecy. Each operative underwent a careful vetting process. Trust was scarce and betrayal was fatal. With his team in place, Rayhan began executing his first coordinated operations. These were not direct assaults on the central conspirators, yet but careful strikes against intermediaries and weak links. Financial accounts were analyzed for vulnerabilities, communications intercepted and decrypted, and minor disruptions executed to test the responses of his targets. Each move was calculated, leaving minimal traces while yielding maximum insight. It was a dance of strategy and precision, a demonstration of his mastery over both technology and human behavior. As Rayhan's influence grew, so did the complexity of his operations. He acquired advanced tools for digital intrusion, network manipulation, and surveillance. He studied behavioral patterns of key players, predicting responses to information leaks, financial pressure, and public exposure. His team became an extension of his mind, executing tasks with synchronicity and discretion. Together, they formed an invisible force capable of destabilizing elements of the conspiracy without revealing themselves. Rayhan also understood the importance of patience and timing. A premature strike could alert the conspirators and close avenues of attack. Each operation required meticulous planning, coordination, and backup strategies. He created contingency plans, redundant communication channels, and fail-safes to ensure that no single failure could compromise the mission. The apartment became a war room where every scenario was anticipated, every action rehearsed, and every decision weighed against potential consequences. The human element remained critical. Rayhan knew that fear, greed, and ambition could be exploited as effectively as technological prowess. By subtly manipulating intermediaries and insiders, he sowed confusion, distrust, and paranoia within the conspirators' ranks. Anonymous leaks to journalists, small financial disruptions, and carefully timed digital exposures amplified the pressure. His strategy was multi-layered: destabilize the network internally while preparing for the ultimate confrontation with those at the core. As transformation progressed, Rayhan felt the psychological shift within himself. He was no longer merely reacting to grief. He had become proactive, calculating, and unyielding. His moral compass, guided by the memory of Rabu and Ayet, justified the actions he would once have found unthinkable. The ordinary world, the one with casual conversations, office routines, and family dinners, was gone. In its place was a new reality, one where intelligence, strategy, and stealth were paramount, and where justice was pursued on his own terms. Financial resources were the next element. Rayhan traced and accumulated assets, using them to fund operations, acquire tools, and compensate his operatives. Money became a weapon, enabling him to hire specialists, procure equipment, and sustain long-term operations. Each financial move was calculated to remain undetectable while maximizing leverage. His understanding of economic systems allowed him to manipulate outcomes subtly, without triggering alarms that could expose him. The transformation also extended to physical readiness. Rayhan understood that digital skill alone was insufficient. He trained himself in situational awareness, self-defense, and covert operations. His home, while a command center, contained secure areas, escape routes, and emergency protocols. Every aspect of his life was designed to protect him while enabling him to act decisively against those who had wronged his family. By the end of this phase, Rayhan had fully evolved. He was a master of infiltration, strategy, and manipulation. His team operated seamlessly, executing his plans with precision. The conspirators, unaware of the invisible force moving against them, began to experience the subtle pressures and disruptions that signaled the beginning of their unraveling. Rayhan was ready to escalate operations, confident in his ability to expose, destabilize, and ultimately exact vengeance. Rayhan's transformation was not merely practical, it was existential. The man defined by love and family had been replaced by one defined by purpose, intellect, and relentless determination. He had embraced the shadows, becoming a force capable of reshaping events and confronting powerful adversaries. The journey from grief to action was complete, and the stage was set for the next chapter, escalation. Rayhan paused one night, staring at photographs of Rabu and Ayat pinned to the wall above his monitors. Their faces reminded him why he had undertaken this path. Love had turned into loss and loss had become power. Each decision, each action was a tribute to them, a promise that the conspirators would face consequences. In the quiet of his transformed world, Rayhan smiled faintly, knowing that the reckoning was only beginning, and that he was now ready to wield the full extent of his capabilities. Chapter 5: Escalation. Rayhan's transformation had positioned him at the center of a web of calculated influence. The conspirators, powerful and complacent, were unaware that an invisible force had begun to disrupt their world. What had started as digital reconnaissance now escalated into coordinated strikes designed to weaken, confuse, and expose. The campaign against those responsible for Rabu and Ayat's deaths entered its most dangerous and decisive phase. The first layer of escalation targeted financial vulnerabilities. Rayhan had mapped the money flows of intermediaries, shell companies, and key operatives. With precision, he disrupted accounts, rerouted funds, and triggered audits that would alarm the conspirators without implicating him. Small transfers went missing, transactions were delayed, and unexpected scrutiny rattled those who believed themselves untouchable. Every ripple in the financial network magnified fear, creating internal tension that he monitored with cold satisfaction. Simultaneously, Rayhan intensified digital infiltration. Communications were intercepted and decrypted, revealing strategies, alliances, and weaknesses. Fake leaks were planted to provoke suspicion among co-conspirators. Anonymous messages created doubt, forcing them to second-guess each other. By exploiting greed, fear, and mistrust, Rayhan manipulated human behavior as deftly as he manipulated digital systems. The network began to crumble, and every disruption brought him closer to his ultimate goal. Strategically, Rayhan orchestrated minor exposures to the public. Journalists received anonymous tips backed by irrefutable proof, detailing smaller acts of corruption that the conspirators thought buried. Media coverage amplified internal pressure, forcing these players to divert attention and resources to damage control. While the public only saw the tip of the iceberg, Rayhan knew the full scope of the network remained hidden, and he intended to reveal it all at the right moment. Physical measures were also taken. Rayhan deployed operatives to gather intelligence on locations, security protocols, and personal behaviors. Surveillance of offices, homes, and vehicles allowed him to anticipate moves and reinforce digital actions. By combining virtual and real-world intelligence, he created a holistic strategy that kept the conspirators off balance and reactive. Every day, he tightened the noose, ensuring that each escalation advanced the mission while minimizing exposure to himself. As the pressure mounted, mistakes and tensions within the conspiracy multiplied. Alliances fractured, communications became cautious, and fear replaced confidence. Rayhan observed these shifts with meticulous attention, adjusting his strategy to exploit vulnerabilities. The conspirators were experts in manipulation and secrecy, yet they were predictable when under duress. Rayhan had become a master of creating and controlling that duress, shaping outcomes without revealing his hand. One night, Rayhan's team executed a coordinated operation that marked the first major victory. Financial data, communications, and minor leaks converged into a targeted blow that destabilized several key intermediaries. Panic ensued, and the conspirators began to make errors, exposing sensitive information that would have remained hidden under normal circumstances. The campaign of escalation had achieved its first tangible success. The conspiracy was starting to unravel from within. With each